Okay, looks like the game is starting. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so I think I have the deck lists up here. Yeah, so Joe's deck list is pretty much what I was playing. We have the Scorpion Splash, and then we have Crane also on Scorpion Splash. Um,
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the crab deck it's a keeper clan, so they have a little bit more flexibility with their influence. They're able to slot all three Fate Worse Than Death. Crane's only on two.
yeah, yeah, we've mainly been doing the Fate Worse Than Death and the Me Conformance, and then Calling in Favors is also nice because you can get rid of a Cloud the Mind or something similar.
How do you find this deck performing compared to the older Unicorn Splash lists? I know that before people really figured out just how good a Fate Worse Than Death can be in some situations, that most people preferred a list with Keeper the Talisman of the Sun.
Yeah, so Talisman of the Sun is just a really good card. Um, the problem with it is if it gets stolen with Calling in Favors, then it's really good for your opponent, which you don't want. So, with all of the Scorpion and Scorpion Splash that was going around for a while, we kind of moved away from that. Me and Joe have been on Scorpion Splash, and then jokingly was on Lion for a while. Uh, I think Action Johnny was trying out Crane also. But yeah, I think with the new meta, we might actually move back to Unicorn a little bit more now that the Phoenix pack is out.
Yeah, I think a lot of the hate has moved back towards events away from attachments. You can sneak through some of the more high impact attachments without being confident that you're going to run into a bunch of lists with like 3, 4, or even 5 anti-attachment options in the deck.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, interestingly, szuturon, I'm not sure how you pronounce
Yeah,
that, is
I don't know.
also they're running a little bit of an older list. I think that it's fallen a little bit out of fashion to run a list without any attachments at all.
Yeah, no
Um,
attachments.
it can be hard to get a lot of value out of your events in longer games because attachments sort of naturally get like 2, 3, 4 uses out of them, whereas
Right.
events are one and done. And I think even in the presence of attachment hate, um, that a lot of cranes are back to running, 6 or 7 attachments even, as opposed to issuing them entirely. The benefit of not bringing attachments is you make the attachment hate in your opponent's deck dead, and you also get more efficient test of skills. And we do see this crane players on 2 test of skill.
Yeah.
Um, so that can be a way to get some more card draw without having to open yourself up to dishonor.
So, Joe only playing the Hida Guardian and then passing. That is kind of strange, I feel like.
I know I was just sort of trying to get a feel for Crab recently playing Joe's list on Jigoku, just casual games, and I noticed that turn 1 is the hardest turn to play properly.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, and this way, he's going to have so much fate going into the next turn where he can really start to leverage, his deck. It has those a fate worse than death. Eventually, Crane's going to want to play a big character, and if they don't lay the groundwork correctly, it could be disastrous.
Yeah, so if he has an Assassinate here, I think that would be good. Also, if he has any conflict characters for a couple of free attacks. Um, but yeah, I do kind of feel like I would have wanted to get the Satoshi online.
Wow, this is really strange. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Crane attacks Earth first conflict first turn into Keeper Earth Crab.
Yeah,
Um,
that's an interesting choice. And we see a
yeah, I
charge.
was about to say just for the economic impact alone, you might see Joe hold back and do a charge Satoshi if he already is holding onto a reprieve. And it does look like that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, now if you activate Satoshi and hit a holding, you can use the Heated Guardian also.
Yeah, that would be very powerful. Maybe even see some more keepers since as since we do have that Earth Ring online right now.
Yeah.
Censure court games and policy debate, not what you were looking to find in your test of skill for this conflict, I think.
And that is a one-time censure also. So now
Very odd.
he only has to worry about the voice of honor for cancels.
So I'm at a bit of a loss as far as what's in Crane's hand, because the test of skill kind of signals to me that maybe they were looking for a bonsai. And if they don't have bonsai and they don't have Way of the Crane, what do they have?
I guess nothing. So
Interesting that Joe didn't try to activate Satoshi there. It seems like you could have found at least one more keeper.
yeah, I feel like that would have been better to do it there. But he does get the one keeper and he gets the keeper fate, so that's good.
Water Ring's a pretty obvious choice here.
Yeah.
You don't care if you get voided back, and this will stand Satoshi back up for the impending political conflicts. We could see the policy debate that was added to hand earlier at this point, though.
Yeah, if he's defending with Whisper, then I feel like that. That's strange.
Joe probably willing to trade a card out of hand for standing Satoshi,
Yeah.
but if he loses his reprieve or whatever else he was setting up, it could also be awkward.
Oh, for shame. Okay.
Okay. A little bit low impact there, but not awful. Um, okay, we see a fan come out, so that does block the policy debate. And that the keeper does have the one fade on it, and you know um, what am I trying to say? There's no fans in the Crane deck. Yeah, I think that went well for Joe, actually.
Yeah. So Daidoji Eric in the chat is saying that he would have policy debated first action. Um, that way you don't have to worry about the fan because he hasn't put it on yet. And
There's
then
definitely no impending need to do the for shame first.
yeah, just save that for later. So I guess they're just gonna oh, there's the reprieve. So you want to use Mia Satoshi before the end of the turn, I imagine. Um, I still think you should have used it in that conflict to try to find more keepers. Oh, the calling in favors. So the
Oh,
reprieve.
the reprieve was actually played before the last
Oh,
conflict.
and he gets the Karada district.
Oh my God. So that's the reason to not pop Satoshi, right? Because then you can bait out the 1x calling in favors, and you've got that, what is it? It's like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 to hit the Karada.
Well, he did flip another keeper though, so he would have another keeper on the board if he had done that.
Yeah, but that's the last calling in favors. Now
Right.
literally every attachment has free reign. And you have no reason to keep the Karada around, because the crane's not going to steal your stuff anymore.
Well, he still has one more, doesn't he?
No, oh right, Joe's on 1.
Yeah, Joe
Crane's on
has.
2.
Yeah,
So yeah, you keep it around a little longer.
yeah. I mean, you could always rebuild it also if you. Okay, so he does keep it. He has. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably gonna buy. I want to say the whole board with the amount of fate he has.
Yeah, I think you go Yasuki, and then based on what Crane buys next, you either get Witch Hunter, or if they try to buy a big character, you might hold back Fate. But yeah, I would play Witch Hunter after seeing Savvy come out.
Oh, he passed.
Joe disagrees. What do you think you'd do, Pie Mittens, after seeing the Savvy come out? I mean, you are up on characters, so it might not be necessary to commit more to this board right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would have wanted to play Witch Hunter, I think. But it depends also on what he has in his hand. Because playing Witch Hunter, you want to put at least 2 fate on it. That would put you down to 1 fate. Although there are fate on most of the rings here. If Crane passes first, though, in the Dynasty phase, you get to use that opportunity to use Satoshi and try to get another copy of him. So it looks like he's attacking with Satoshi. Wonder what ring he'll go here. So playing the way the Crane as soon as possible kind of signifies that he probably has a voice of honor, I would imagine. Joe dropped his bid to 3. And we see a void attack at Manicured Gardens. So Crane is going to get 2 fate from this. And at Court Games to dishonor Satoshi. And that puts him low enough to get hit by Crane Box, so... Okay, he does have his own Court Games. We could see another For Shame, maybe.
Yeah, I think For Shame would be the most efficient way of dealing with this coming at you. There's really just limited options without any attachments, although Karada would take those options back away from you. Yeah, we see the For Shame, and he goes for the Dishonor. Forcing a use on the box is always good. It allows you to use your Yasukis on defense.
That's true.
Although you could use your Yasukis on defense anyway if you were willing to commit your Stronghold as first action.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't mind getting the box out of the way here, though. He's not really worried about honor either. So, We're going to see the Cautious Scout attacking Manicured Gardens. And the Yasukis are defending. Interesting. One of them? Both of them?
Well, he will get card draw out of this. This is the Water Ring. It's notable.
Yeah, it's weird that on a watering defense, the only character he doesn't defend with is the one with no fate. So we're gonna see the Yasukis get used. And I imagine he'll use box here. Okay.
Ooh, Watch Commander.
Watch Commander.
He does have 3, so it's not a massive commitment to play one into any particular conflict.
So there's the box. So he's up by 2. And we're just going to see a pass.
I mean, I wonder if he's trying to... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to try to pull something when he played the Watch Commander, right? Because he didn't need it to get the win from the current board state.
Yeah, the +1 didn't really help, so... Oh.
Wow, drawing out the Fate Worse Than Death on the 1 Fate Yasuki with the Watch Commander. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I feel like that's fine, probably, because that was... Yeah, Crane has...
Wow.
What?
We see another Watch Commander come down on the other Yasuki, which only brings it up to a tie.
So... That would be funny if he had another mountain. But yeah, I feel like you're fine with the Fate Worse Than Death there because the Yasuki isn't that big anyway. But at the same time, you did spend a lot of cards there, the mountain and the Watch Commander.
Yeah, it's a 4 Fate investment in the Yasuki. Then the mountain and the Watch Commander. If you count the draw from the Yasuki itself, that means you're down 1 card off of it, right?
And
Oh,
admit
interesting.
defeat. So Crane did lose 2 honor from that conflict, but he is going to win, it looks like.
Yeah, Crane's starting to get to that point where where they're gonna lose the ability to draw freely. So,
And he readies his Savvy Politician.
yeah, Hermuk Skirmisher coming down here is good.
Yeah.
Less good than it would have been if that conflict didn't go so badly for Joe,
Right.
numbers-wise.
Yeah, the Fate Worse Than Death was probably good for the Crane player. But at the same time, you know, it could have been worse. Like, it could have been on a Witch Hunter, so...
Yeah, good timing, I guess, for Joe not committing to a Witch Hunter on a turn when he might not have a lot of save options and the Voice of Honor is active. So
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's why he didn't play the Witch Hunter, because he probably had at least one of those Watch Commanders and the Mountain in his hand, and he wanted to play them. So we're seeing an Earth attack here. If he wins, he gets another Keeper. And drawing a card is always nice.
Crane plays bonsai here. Interesting to see if they'll kick or not. Yeah, they don't. Starting to feel the honor pressure a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to see if Joe has anything else. Let's see. He's already played one bonsai. He only has one of those left. Oh, wait. Yeah, only one bonsai left.
Voice cancels
Oh,
bonsai.
okay. So he could still have a charge. There are 2 charges left.
Yeah, if he can resolve a charge behind that bonsai, that would be very good.
Yeah. He could, of course, have a fate worse than death also, but that would be risky. I think charge is what you want here. Whoops. What did I just do? So he uses Mia Satoshi. That's gonna get another keeper and another Satoshi. So he's seen all 3 keepers now. Have we seen any PDs? We have seen one policy debate, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of the other game.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any PDs come down.
Yeah, so no policy debates yet. Joe's gonna lose that conflict, unfortunately, so he won't get his keepers.
I think Crane has to drop a character into this next conflict to have any ability to break. Without any attachments, they just don't have any ability to get up to 4. They
Well,
could break Shameful Display on
yeah,
3.
that's what I was about to say. He could try to go there. And this is political. So it's possible Joe has a meek informant that he could play to activate Shameful, but probably not very likely. Just trying to get some honor back with the air ring.
If he has to resolve, or if he resolves the air ring, ooh. Okay, so we got a court games countered by a Brash Samurai honoring itself, so that should prevent the break unless Crane wants to commit away the Crane or court games into it.
Yeah, Joe is running informants. He has... So he's on... Here's his deck list. He's on Scorpion Splash, 3 Fate Worse Than Death, 1 Calling in Favors, 2 Meek Informant.
Yeah, Meek Informant would have been good there. With the favor, he'd go up to 2 since the Crane box was already used, but doesn't
Yeah.
look like he had it.
He does have a reprieve. And... Okay, he wants to play that on Satoshi instead. Yeah, so... So Shoot Rev says in chat, not convinced on Scorp Splash for Crab anyway. I think we will see people moving away from it now that the Phoenix pack is out. I mentioned that earlier. I think Unicorn Splash is going to probably be good again. So he switches Reprieve to Satoshi, and with the other copy, he's gonna stick around. Um,
A dishonored Satoshi is not very strong, though.
yeah, that's true. Uh, so let's see. He's already seen 2 Satoshis and Karada. So his remaining Imperial cards are Imperial Storehouse, Imperial Palace, and a 3rd Satoshi. So those are the...
I think he wants to mill more,
Yeah,
just because he hasn't seen any iron mines or other rebuild targets yet.
right. He has already seen the 3 Keepers, though. Yeah, I almost would have wanted to keep the Yasuki there because he had the Watch Commander, and he draws you another card.
But if he was planning on
Whoops.
dropping the Kurata like he did,
Right,
then you can't activate the Yasuki. It's a little less good. I think he's
that's
gonna
true, yeah.
aggressively try to mill for some iron mines.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So, so we see a Yoshi with favor. It looks like Shoot Rev called that. Um, we see Satoshi discarded. Now you just don't attack with Yoshi unless you have counter to Fate Worse Than Death, yeah. There's the Witch Hunter. Vanguard Warrior. So he didn't decide to use Satoshi during the Dynasty phase. So
Provided that Crane can keep Voice of Honor on, there's 2 more in the deck, right? The Yoshi will be kind of safe from a fate worse than death, and we do see that the Meek comes out to scout the hand. And
so
we do
there,
see Voice
yeah.
of Honor and Way of the Crane.
So that shouldn't be too difficult. Let's see. There's a policy debate with Yoshi that's probably going to be useful. So Crane is first player. Yeah, I mean, you could just attack with Yoshi here because Voice of Honor is on right now, so he can't play a Fate Worse Than Death.
Joe doesn't have the fate for that anyway,
Oh,
which I
true,
just noticed.
he's only at 2 Fate, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Um, Shoot Rev is saying that he can use Charge on Hotaru and then Favorable Ground home, so he can use her in a political conflict. That would be pretty strong. Uh, However, he is using his political conflict here, so he won't be able to do that. Yeah, we do see the Outwit.
Interesting defense here. Satoshi can be bowed.
Yeah, unless he boxes first.
Box would send him up to 7. There's a Steward of Law, but no for shame in the hand for Crane.
Yeah, 2 stewards actually.
And yeah, just fainting
Okay.
instead.
So we should see a Yasuki trigger here.
Not after the favorable ground got discarded.
Oh, good point. No more holdings. So yeah, uh, mountain does not fall. Okay. So he still hasn't used Satoshi. So what we might see is use Satoshi and then rebuild a holding. Um,
It's hard for Joe to do much here.
yeah,
If he wants to keep any of those 5 cards in hand, can't do much.
he would really like to get the Earth Ring for those keepers. He could just try to go in on a military attack and see if he can win that. But we know that he has Way of the Crane, which could bring Yoshi up to 5. And he also has Favor. Okay, so he passes his conflict. That makes sense. So the Meek Informant, Crane only has a military left, so Meek Informant will have to attack political if he wants to use that this turn. And even then the box will just bow it, so might end
Well,
up...
if he attacks with 2 characters that could otherwise be bowed,
Right.
it still has to be respected by Crane.
That's true. So I'm wondering what Crane is thinking about doing here.
Yeah, with Crab not attacking, it becomes a little bit trickier to decide how you want to attack. If we activate Yoshi on this attack, we won't have the favor anymore when Crane attacks or Crab attacks back military.
Yeah, I really like Shoot Rev's line of attacking Mill first and then charging in Hotaru and bringing her back with the favorable ground so that you can then attack political with her.
Yeah, I think the rest of the turn would have been a lot stronger if he had taken that line.
So skill 5.
Once again choosing to go with the Earth Ring when other options are available. This is kind of safe because of the outwit, but he'll end up spending a few honor this way.
Yeah. And it seems kind of risky also because if you lose the Earth Ring, then you're in a bad spot all of a sudden.
I guess not confident that he'd be in any better of a position if Joe attacked back with Earth.
That's fair. So we'll probably see Yoshi get used here. That makes Outwit free.
We should remember that Yasuki has Mountain on it from earlier this round.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's also the Witch Hunter. So the attack back military is likely to actually still be rather large. The Vanguard Warrior is likely going to be used for its own ability, but the Meek could be used to stand the Witch Hunter back up after this one.
So Joe attempts a charge, and we see a Voice of Honor. And that's going to cost 1 honor. So that's 2 Voices of Honor and the Censure, so we only have 1 Voice of Honor left in the Crane deck. He uses Yoshi's ability, bringing him up to 12 cards. To Joe's 4, so quite a big hand advantage. And there's a rebuild, so kind of interesting that he didn't use Satoshi and then rebuild something.
I still think if he wasn't going to use Satoshi this round, he might want to have considered keeping the Yasuki around instead.
Yeah.
The Satoshi dupe obviously is good, but Yasuki had that Watch Commander.
And rebuilding the Kurata district is not really
It's
what you
just to
want to
turn
do
the
here.
Yasuki back on.
Yeah, but did we see? Yeah, we did see a calling in favors in the Crane's hand, so at least it's not completely useless potentially.
No, it is, because Joe has no money and there's no way to gain money this round.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Alright, I'm gonna jump off for a minute.
Okay. So yeah, we saw that they both started bidding 5. On the second turn, Joe bid 3, and Szuturon bid 5. And then they swapped in the third round. Yeah, the rebuild. Okay, so we saw Outwit to send Shrewd Yasuki home. So the rebuild was just to use Shrewd Yasuki, and he couldn't even do that. He will get to when he attacks. And then we see a policy debate revealing a fate worse than death, a skirmisher, and the other 2 rebuilds. And he's going to discard the fate worse than death. Yeah, the only reason to rebuild is just because you want to see more cards, basically. So let's see what gets discarded. It is one of the rebuilds. So we're probably going to see the Witch Hunter get used. Yeah, so he probably just wants to do a military attack here. He could even play this. He still has the skirmisher, so he could even play that and covert the samurai, so it won't even be able to defend if he really wants to. But then Szuturon will have 2 standing glory for favor. Interesting. So he doesn't even use the Witch Hunter. He's just going to go ahead and attack Fertile Fields. Attacking Air Ring. And yeah, Meek Informant is just going to get bowed by the box here. Did we see Shrid Yasuki used? Oh, okay, so he actually did use it before it got outwitted. So yeah, it's been used already. So Crane will still need another card if he wants to win this conflict. Okay, we have the political rival. So that will be another honor, but it looks like Crane is going to be able to win this conflict now. We could even see the box used just for the fun of it. And I'm pretty sure Witch Hunter hasn't been used. I'm kind of doubting myself on that now, but yeah, so Witch Hunter will be able to stand someone back up, and that will probably give Joe the favor because he can stand Satoshi. So Crane not having favor with Yoshi is good for Crab. So the other problem is that Crab is still only on 2 cards to Crane's 10. So that makes things difficult. And the honor totals are getting low on both sides. We have 6 to 6. Okay, so interesting. We do see Mia Satoshi get used to pull a storehouse. So that is kind of strange to me. I feel like I would have wanted to use Mia Satoshi earlier instead of rebuilding Karada District. Okay, we get the Vanguard Warrior to keep Yasuki around for another turn. And we should see Witch Hunter standing Satoshi. Yeah, there it is. So we're going into turn 4, and we still have no breaks on both sides. So immediately plays Caillou Envoy. It would be interesting if the card he drew from Storehouse was Way of the Crab. 2 Voice of Honors have been used, and also the 1 Sentry that he has, so there's only 1 Voice of Honor left. And we see Joe bid 3 and Crane players bid 1. So Joe goes down to 4 honor. It's a little bit risky. And interesting that he only played the Caillou Envoy that turn. Okay, so we are seeing Away of the Crab, I believe. And that takes out the political rival. So it looks like he did not have the last Voice of Honor. Did Joe pass first? He did pass first, okay. So that explains why he didn't play Way of the Crab during the Dynasty phase. I guess you don't really lose much if that gets cancelled because you're still getting the card draw from the Caillou Envoy. And if you have the Fate Worse Than Death, so again, he really wants the Earth Ring because he has all 3 keepers. And he needs the cards also, so maybe we'll just see a huge Earth conflict here. Mia Satoshi is dishonored, so he's currently a 0-2. So he's not going to be useful in a military conflict. Yeah, so Joe has 2 copies of A Fate Worse Than Death left. He's only played 1 so far. Thinking about just attacking with the Shrewd Yasuki, it looks like. So I'm wondering if that would be a political attack. Yeah, so we see a political air attack. That's so yeah, so he really wants to get some honor back here. Yeah, I would not be surprised if he has a Fate Worse Than Death for whoever defends this. Of course, it is possible that the Crane player actually does have the 3rd Voice of Honor and just chose not to cancel the Way of the Crab and instead save it for the Fate Worse Than Death. Although court games could turn Voice of Honor off anyway. Yeah, so I think Joe wants either Air or Earth Ring here. Air because he's at 4 honor, and then Earth because he has all 3 keepers and needs the cards. I think I would have probably gone Earth. It depends though on if he thinks he can win. If he really thinks he can win, then Earth is fine. But if he thinks he might not win, maybe he just goes Air here and then tries to get Earth later. Yeah, Witch Hunter is in danger of getting Void Ringed here. And we see an Assassinate on the Yasuki. So he's not even going to get to use his card draw there. Yeah, so I think Void would have been better there probably. So now we're seeing, I think I saw him flip the water ring there. Yeah, so he's going for the water ring. Yeah, I think it's unlikely that he has Voice of Honor. But it is a possibility. Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Fate Worse Than Death come out here. You're not really going to get to use Witch Hunter this turn, it looks like, for anything useful. Let's see. Crane does have... I think we did see that Crane has a Harrier in hand. Wherever that was. Yeah, Crane does have a Harrier, and Crane also, I don't think, has played either of those Stuarts. Yeah. So Crane does have at least three conflict characters if they want to do another conflict after this, even if they don't get the water ring. Joe uses box. Joe wanted to prevent box. That makes sense. He's going to use Manicured Garden, and then he's going to let the Crane player have the watering. So, okay, and we see a Skirmisher here. So Skirmisher is going to be able to covert the Kaizen, which is good. So I think Joe should be able to get this Earth Ring. And that's going to be really strong because now he'll get his keepers. Yeah, so we do see the Earth Ring. And we've already seen 2 For Shames, so... Okay, so the Steward of Law does come in. So we might see a Steward, For Shame, and then another character. If he really doesn't want Joe to win this. So yeah, there's the For Shame, so it's 1-1 now. We have only seen 2 charges out of Crab, so he could have the 3rd charge. We'll see if Crane wants to play another character here. The other thing is Steadfast Witch Hunter hasn't been used, so if he really needs to, he can just use that to stand back up. We see a charge from the Crane player. So Hotaru is now in the conflict. So what will Crab do here? So yeah, we see Witch Hunter stand up. So the attacker is winning again. So Crane will have to have something else here. Let's see what Crane could have. Crane has only used... Oh, another charge. So Cautious Scout is now in the conflict. And I'm not sure what Crab can actually have here that would... He could have the 3rd Watch Commander. He could have the charge, obviously. He hasn't seen an assassination yet. He could do that. But he's just going to pass, so it looks like he did not have anything else. And that unfortunately leaves the Crane player the option of going Void Ring and getting rid of the Witch Hunter. And Joe actually is only running 2 bonsais. Yeah. So he's already used both of his bonsais. Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't buy the intimidating Hida. I guess it is still possible that he has a fate worse than death, and he's just been saving it to use it on... I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, so we just get the free break on Shameful, and he's going to avoid the Witch Hunter. We do see a reprieve. However, we know the Crane player has Calling in Favors. So I think you probably steal it on Hotaru. We also know that Joe has the 3rd rebuild in hand, so he could just rebuild Karada District. Yeah, we do see it stolen onto Hotaru, so yeah, we will see the rebuild. And then he's going to steal it back. And that is the last attachment control card out of Crane. So going into this turn, Crane is going to have Favor again, so he's going to get to draw some more cards with Yoshi. He's saying won't let him play something. Yeah, I was wondering about, because he already played away the crab this turn. Maybe he forgot about that. Yeah, so it looks like he has away the crab in hand. Yeah, he wanted to draw Fate Worse Than Death that turn, I think. So we could still see Way of the Crab first action Dynasty. Although Crane can just play the Brash Samurai if he wants. And that's what he does. We still might see Way of the Crab at some point. So you still have Meditations and Defend the Wall. Let's make sure. Yeah, he's running the regular provinces. So we see the Intimidating Kita and the Borderlands Defender. Crane gets the Passing Fate. And we're going to see 1 bids, I imagine. Yeah, so this is not looking good for Crab. Crane has the Yoshi with Favor. He has the Asami. Crab only has 2 Honor. So we might just see a big political air attack. Yeah, he's thinking about it. Yeah, neither of the crab provinces are going to help at all right now. Defend the wall. So, I mean, if he can win this, then that's good, obviously. But I don't see a way for him to win this conflict. He's just going to use a Sami here. Yeah, so Rally is... I'm pretty sure Rally's under the stronghold. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to really run it under the row in this matchup. So yeah, Joe needs some way to win this conflict, or he just loses the game here. But I don't think there's anything he can have. Has he played? He's played one fan. Whoops. So if he has both fans and a court games and a meek informant, he has one meek informant left. So that would be enough to bring him up, but yeah, you probably... Yeah, we're pretty sure he has a way of the crab, so... Yeah, make would just get bowed, that's a good point. So yeah, I don't think there's any way unless way of the crab misclick. Yeah, I guess he could court games his Witch Hunter and then Way of the Crabbit. Then he would at least be on 1 honor still. But it doesn't seem good. Yeah, if that was the plan, then you probably just... Then you don't defend with everybody. We see a... Oh. So Joe just concedes by playing policy debate and bidding 5. He says, apparently Jigoku won't let you assassinate yourself to loss anymore, so I had to get creative. Alright, well, that's going to be the game, it looks like. Yeah, so it looks like Szuturon will go on to play Action Johnny. Another crab matchup. Yeah, not winning any Earth conflicts and just having those 3 keepers sit in the discard pile was kind of unfortunate. And yeah, I think he also should have. I think maybe you keep the other Shrewd Yasuki around instead of the Mia Satoshi, since he had a Watch Commander and Satoshi was dishonored anyway. But yeah, that's the game. So I guess I'm going to head out now. I'll see you guys later.